I hope everybody's ready to get excited because Sports Night is on the air. It's what everybody will be talking about, a great way to get jazzed for Cardinal sports. It's a race toward the finish for the winter season, and we've got you covered. Sports Night is next. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young. Howie Shapiro out of the country this evening, and hopefully will be returning last week. So you just have me to watch this week, but a lot of stuff to talk about as we get toward and into end of season tournament time for the winter sports. And last week kind of it screwed up a little bit for a lot of teams with the school closures Monday through Thursday. A lot of schedules got shuffled around and switched up, but it looks like we're going to get everything in here in the next week and a half or so and get right back on track. We start with the girls hockey team. They head into section tournament play after wrapping up the regular season with a pair of home games last week. The school closure changed the date, time, and venue for the first game of the week. Instead of playing at the Forum on Tuesday night, they played an early game on Thursday at Crick. And the matchup with Blaine had a lot of implications for the upcoming tournament seedings. Bluebirds looking to finish the season strong regardless of the arena. Defensive struggle in the first, neither team finding any real quality chances, just 10 combined shots with Blaine holding the slim 6-4 advantage. Neither goalie really tested in the first 17 minutes, and there's no score after one. Bluebirds turn up the pressure in the second midway through. Perfect setup, Erica Tyson, and she finishes on the one-timer. Champlain Park Coon Rapids finally able to break the scoreless tie. They get a little insurance in the final minute of the period. Puck played toward the net and not handled well. Abby Ness is right there to cash in on the loose puck. 2-0 Bluebirds after two. Second goal of the year for the freshman. Third period, CPCR on the power play. Holly Johnson in position, puts the one-timer past the keeper, gives the Bluebirds enough cushion for the keeper at the other end. Blaine had a couple of really good scoring chances in this game, but Bailey Shuck shut down everything they threw at her. She made 22 saves to record her 7th shutout of the year. Bluebirds hold on for the 3-0 win. Well, Bluebirds clinched the West Division with a win over Blaine, and on Saturday they looked to finish really strong when they took on Osseo Park Center. The earlier matchup, again, they were back at the Forum to wrap up the regular season. First time they faced Osseo Park Center, they had to settle for a 1-1 tie. They wanted to make sure they went out with a win in their last home game of the year. Very even game in the first. Bluebirds able to start the scoring on the power play. Less than 5 minutes in, Haley Williams jumping on a rebound and burying it in the back of the net. Osseo Park Center held the edge in shots in the first period, 12-10. But this is the only goal. It's played toward the net by Delaney Johnson. Williams there to finish 1-0 Bluebirds after one. That lead holds until the third. Laura Denchfield flying into the zone, able to find the 5-hole on Bailey Shuck. CPCR really controlling the game for the most part. But as you can see, Denchfield gets through the stick check, kind of fans, and that messes up the timing for Shuck. Can't make the save. It's a 1-1 game. Stays that way into the final minute, but the Bluebirds able to avoid overtime. Little flurry around the net, and it's Abby Ness again, eventually poking it home. Her second goal in as many games, and this time it's a game winner. That got the bench fired up. Check out the slow motion replay. Puck just right on the line, and Ness able to force it across before the defender can kick it away. CPR gets the 2-1 win. Ends the regular season with 3 straight wins, and that's big. They clinched the division, but in the section, they'll be in the middle part of that section. Some very good teams. That seeding was being done tonight, so we did not get those seeds and the matchups yet for the tournament, which will start on Saturday. But we hope to have first-round action for you here on CTN, the first round of the playoffs for girls over at the Roseville Ice Arena. Moving along to the boys hockey team. I forgot to move forward in my scripts. I'm somewhere in here. The Cardinals will face 3 top 10 teams in their last 4 games of the regular season. Last week started with another tough test, 14th ranked Champlain Park. Well, the Rebels had won 11 of their previous 12 games, and they are one of the 3 teams battling for the top seed in Section 5. They would definitely give the Cardinals all they could handle and then some. Cardinals were able to keep it close through the first period, and for a while were generating the better scoring chances. Big glove save shuts down the shot by Simonson. Cardinals couldn't capitalize on any of those chances, unfortunately. No score into the final minute of the first. Rebels creating some pressure, then getting the big turnover. Derek Roberts jumping the pass, getting in alone behind the defense. He goes to the backhand, gives Champlin Park a 1-0 lead after the first. Shots on goal were 14-12 Rebels after one. Different story in the second period. Champlin Park was dominant. Aiden Grant gets loose along the boards. He scores a shorthanded goal, makes it 2-0 visitors, and that was just the start. Cardinals 5 on 3, but the first penalty ends as Grant gets the steal at the blue line. They go in shorthanded 2-0. No chance for Wise at all. Jack Kargas cashes in, and the floodgates are open. The Rebels outshot the Cardinals 20-2 in the second period, and they lit the lamp 7 times before the second intermission. Champlin Park added another goal in the running time third period. They had the Cardinals a 9-0 loss, their worst defeat of the season. And that was a tough one, especially that second period. Looked like they played with them pretty well. A tough turnover late that gives Champlin Park the lead going into the first intermission. But the second period was just all Champlin Park. 20-2 shots on goal, and they ballooned that lead to 8-0. And that was a tough loss for the Cardinals to handle. They knew that Champlin Park, obviously a very good team, ranked 14th in the state, but that's not the kind of result they were hoping for. On Saturday, they went to Osseo looking for the season sweep over the Orioles, and they came up empty in that regard as well. Orioles handing them a 5-1 loss. Tommy Carls had the lone goal for the Cardinals. It was the first goal of the game. Osseo had 3 goals in the second period and were able to go on to the 5-1 win. Connor Wise made 31 saves in the loss, and that was another tough one to stomach, especially since the officiating was questionable and several questionable non-calls that led directly to Osseo chances that ended up in the back of the net. But you can't make excuses. You just got to find answers. The Cardinals hoping to find some this week. They've only got a couple weeks left in their regular season. This week they've got 3 games, 2 against top 10 teams in the state. They host Providence on Tuesday night outdoors. That game will be right here on CTN Live from the CTN Outdoor Rink. Then they host Maple Grove on Thursday, and they're at Blaine on Saturday. I believe Blaine is 5 and Maple Grove is 8, if my memory serves. And then they've got Andover, the start of the next week. Andover ranked number 3. They wrap up the regular season at home against Anoka, which is another team struggling a little bit. So they've got some very tough competition and a couple of games, though, still in their remaining schedule that they hope they can get a couple of wins. Well, the wrestling season is quickly coming to its conclusion, and the Cardinals are facing a lot of great competition to get ready for the section tournament. Big tri-meet for the Cardinals last Thursday when they traveled to Centennial to take on the Cougars. But first, they had to battle with 10th-ranked section rival Forest Lake. Cardinals were missing several starters, but a lot of guys stepped up. Keep this one entertaining to the end. Coon Rapids in a big hole early, but Gabe DeGris helps them start to dig their way back out. 126-pound match gets the cradle, ends up with a tech fall win. Cardinals' first point of the night. Joe Robin really has to work for his points at 138. He goes round and round and round with Wyatt Nelson before Robin able to wrap him up for the takedown. Robin gets the Cardinals a decision. Still, they trail 19-8. Moses Mendimba is good at 170. He's really good at 160. And wrestling at 152, he's a little scary. Hard takedown, gets his man straight to his back. Doesn't get the pin, but a nice win for Mendimba as he looks prepped for tourney time. Unfortunately, the upper weights from Forest Lake just too strong for the Cardinals to mount a comeback. Rangers show why they're so highly rated. Wrap up the 37-23 win. Should be interesting in the tournament. Forest Lake right behind Anoka in the top 10. Coon Rapids, Blaine, and St. Francis all in the lean and mean, and they'll all be looking for that title next week. Well, they didn't have any time to hang their heads about that one. They wasted no time bouncing back from the loss. They were right back on the mat just a short time later to face the host from Centennial, and the Cardinals took out their frustrations as they tore through the Cougars. This was nothing like the Forest Lake duel. Cardinals jumped to a big lead right away, didn't let up until it was over. John Svobany's pin at 1:20 had CR up 18-0 after just 3 matches. Fast forward to 145 pounds. Dalen Jones putting Centennial's Zach Mulberry in a world of hurt. He'll finally get him flat to the mat. The sweet sound of the slap means you've done the best you could. 39-0 Cardinals at that point. Demetrius Seals getting chest to chest with his man at 152 pounds. He'll ride it out for another Coon Rapids pin. Cardinals club being dominant in a meet where they should be dominant. Nick Berg coming up next with a half Nelson to get his man turned to the mat at 195. It was a pinning parade for the visiting squad, and they cruised to the easy win over the Cougars. Cardinals win 11 of 14 classes on their way to a 66-10 victory. So a very successful trip through the Northwest Suburban with the one exception of the very highly ranked and soon to be four-time defending conference champions from Anoka. But the Cardinals have wrestled really, really well against some very good teams. They continued to do so on Saturday. They went to Blaine. They were the #1 seed in the Blaine duels. And so they got a bye in the first round, and then they pummeled Egan in the semis, winning 52-16. Foley, I believe, ranked #7 in Class AA. Their opponent in the championship, and went all the way down to heavyweight. Cardinals just come up short. And from what I heard from former coach Bob Adams and also coach Noah Glenn, they were very close and almost had that, could have won that match, but a couple of things that just didn't go their way, and that's just the way that it goes. The wrestling team wraps up the regular season this Thursday at Maple Grove. Park Center will be there as well. Cardinals trying to finish off strong with a couple of wins against conference opponents. And then the Section 7 AA championships are next Friday. And again, you've got 5 teams that are within the top 15 of the state that are all in Section 7. So that is going to be a very, very difficult and exciting section tournament come next Friday. Gymnastics team just one event last week. It was up against Irondale Spring Lake Park, and the Cardinals got themselves a win, a 128.375. Best Irondale's Spring Lake Park's 124.775. Rachel Dieter leading the way with first place finishes on the floor and on the beam. Aaliyah Vu was tops on the bar. Cassie Rushmeyer was second on the beam, and Stephanie Hancock was fourth on the beam. Dieter, Vu, and Rushmeyer all the Cardinals' top finishers in all 4 events and leading at the right time. And they've only got a couple of events left as well. They're at Elk River, I believe, wrapping up the regular season this evening. The Section 7 AA championships are a week from Friday, so on the 15th, they'll be going into their section tournament as well. A couple of girls that have done nice things this season that they're hoping it will be nice enough to get them into a state tournament. Swimming and diving team has a couple of weeks off now to prepare for their section championships. Last week, they hosted Irondale as part of their conference tournament. The Knights and the Cardinals competing for 9th place in the Northwest Suburban. First time they met this season, the Cardinals won 98-88 as part of a triple duel. This time it was head-to-head, and it went right down to the very end. Coon Rapids racking up the first place finishes. They won the first 6 events and 8 of the 12 in the meet. Andrew Trong having another great night in the first place finishes in the 200 IM and the 100 breaststroke. Senior captain Sarwin White stepping up with the first place finish for the Cardinals in the 50 free. He gets to the wall in the splash and dash in just 24.44 seconds. Cardinals push the lead into double digits after just 4 events. Sophomore Jack Simmer helps them stretch that out a little bit further with another great night off the board. Zimmer is such a great addition to this team. Beautiful 1.5 somersault in the pike position with a full twist. He wins big with a 210.60. Cardinals lead by as much as 20, but the Knights battle back, and it's Coon Rapids by 8 going to the final event, the 400 freestyle. Cardinals just need a second-place finish to clinch the win. Matt Struess, Sarwin White, Andrew Trong, and Tyler Schultz team up, and they lose by a little less than a half second. It's enough, though, for the Cardinals to secure the 94-92 win. So a 9th place finish, that means there are 4 teams finishing below them at the end. So moving on up, as Mr. Jefferson once said. Good to see, and a lot more to come for this Cardinals club. All the guys doing the bulk of the scoring still very young. Still got another 2-3 seasons to see where this team can eventually get to, and when they actually reach their full potential, still a ways away. They've got 2 weeks again until section tournament. The 7AA tournament is the 21st through the 23rd. That's over at Northdale Middle School Pool. The state championships will be the following week at the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center. Nordic ski team, we talked a little bit about it last week because we knew it was so cold that it was going to affect their season once again. The week before, they were supposed to do a pursuit. They only got 1 race in. This past week, they were supposed to do a pursuit. It's for the championships in the Northwest Suburban. They only got a 5K Classic in because they had to push everything back until the very end of the week. Boys team finished in 9th place in the Classic. Josh Thoen, the top finisher for the Cardinals, in 19th. Jared Haida was 28th. Noah Christensen, 44th. Miles Gilliard in 50th place. And Peyton Martinek finished in 74th place. On the girls' side, a little better finish. 5th place overall. Abby Ellenbecker, 8th place in 17 minutes, 48.6 seconds. Olivia Ellenbecker was in 17th. Lila Gilliard in 35th. Bloomberg was in 46th, and Sarah Eichstad right behind her finished in 47th place. This Nordic teams have the 5A championship on Wednesday this week, and then the state tournament will be next Thursday. The section championship at Theodore Wirth on Wednesday. State championships, they'll head north up to Bowabic and Giants Ridge for the state tournament. Alpine team, again, they didn't have a competition this past week. Their section tournament is Tuesday at Giants Ridge, and then their state tournament is next Wednesday, also at Giants Ridge up in Bowabic. Boys basketball team had to postpone their Tuesday game against Blaine, so their first matchup of the week was a Friday night visit to Anoka. Cardinals were looking for some revenge for their overtime loss at their place in early January. They knew they could take the Tornadoes, but they would have to be able to establish their tempo and take advantage of their opportunities. Things looking good for the Cardinals early. They jumped in front and played with the lead for most of the game. Jackson Aurelius had 14 points for Coon Rapids. Still first half, great no-look pass. Reese Mon, David Asayame throws it down with 2 hands, one of 3 Cardinals in double digits. They led 25-24 at the half. Tornadoes come storming out of the locker room, tear off a big run. Perimeter shooting helps them turn the game around. Cody Lindberg, one of 9 3-pointers for Anoka in the game. Cardinals find themselves down 10 with 11 minutes to go. Take a timeout, and that turns the tables. Coon Rapids goes on a 12-2 run and ties the game, including 2 3-pointers for Marshall Holland. He had a monster game, 22 points and 14 boards. But it wasn't enough. Down the stretch, big-bodied Joey Lombard with the rebound and the foul. Anoka wins this by hitting their free throws down the stretch. And Lombard, a big body, able to get a lot of rebounds. But they got their free throws, and they were able to keep the Cardinals at bay down the stretch. 69-60, the final in that one on Friday night. A little double disappointment for the Cardinals as they are swept by Anoka. A little non-conference action for Coon Rapids on Saturday when they took on the Blake Bears. They beat Blake 74-66. Another monster game for Marshall Holland. 24 points, 15 boards. David Asayame had a double-double as well. with 10 points and 12 rebounds. Elijah McGrath had 13 points. Morange and Aurelius each added 9 points and 3 boards. Cardinals have some tough competition coming their way this week. They host Champlin Park on Friday, or they host Park Center on Tuesday. They host Champlin Park on Friday. Then they are at Blaine next Monday. And we will be there on Friday night for that Champlin Park game. Girls basketball also postponing their Tuesday matchup with Blaine. That'll be played next Monday as well. So their week started against Anoka at home, and they lose to the Tornadoes 50-40. Then on Saturday, they went to Buffalo, and the Bison stampeded them 63-30, held the Cardinals to just 30 points of offense. Cardinals fall to 2-14 on the year. They are at Park Center on Tuesday. They are at Champlin Park on Thursday. Couple of tough games on the road for a Cardinal team just looking for anything positive at this point in their season. But that is going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. We'll have boys hockey Tuesday night outdoors, boys basketball from the barn on Friday night. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us, continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including the man that does it all, Neil Highlights Hennon, I'm Joe Young saying goodnight. And this just in, a Sports Night addendum. We got the seedings for the girls hockey tournament. The Bluebirds from Champlin Park, Coon Rapids. The number 3 seed will take on number 6 Rogers in the opening round. That game at 7 o'clock on Friday night at Roseville Arena. The number 1 seed is Maple Grove. They get the bye. They will face the winner of number 4 Blaine and number 5 Anoka. Centennial, the number 2 seed, will take on number 7 Spring Lake Park at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Thanks for joining us again for Sports Night. Take care, and we'll see you next week.